Hi beautiful people. I wasn't going to share this message. I actually recorded something yesterday and I abandoned it because it felt so cheesy. But after this really phenomenal experience I had last night, I've just gotten further confirmation that we really need to hear this. And that's that we are seriously all connected, and I mean that in a very literal, very real way. I have been actually, like, my third eye has been opening, and when I go into meditation and visualization, I can actually see us, like us 144 folks or 1111 folks or a particular brand of light workers. I'm still working out exactly what it is, but 144 is definitely a yes that clicks into place. And I see us literally connected by this gold and white matrix, like this grid that we're creating and lighting up the planet, and it connects all of us to each other. And I always thought, listening to YouTube readers and coaches and people saying like, oh, we're soul family, I love you all. It kind of seemed like just a nice thing to say. And I understand that, it doesn't mean that they actually think I'm their sister. It's just a sweet thing to say to acknowledge the oneness of everything and that we're in this together, right? But actually, when I started tuning into the collective and I posted my first collective reading and I was engaging with you in the comment section and doing readings and doing Patreon calls, 144, I realized I actually can feel you all, and I can feel a way that we're all connected. And when I send love out to you guys, it's almost like I'm actually shaking your hand or giving you a hug. I can feel it. And when you guys send me love, or you send nice messages and you express your appreciation, and there's this divine synchronicity in the way that we connect, I'm like, oh wow, we really are having mirrored experiences. I really can feel that. When you say sending love, I can feel that love. You're not just saying it. Like, there's a heart chakra activation there. And I think that's just absolutely phenomenal and incredible. And I can feel that we have each other's backs in this quantum field, that we are actually together and we are actually sending each other love. And I feel that, and I'm supported by that. And so I want you to know this for two reasons. One is that you are always supported. Right? We are actually here together. Those aren't just words. Like, in our sleep, in our energy, whatever it is, we are actually backing each other up. And so if you're having a down moment or even a happy moment and you feel this like palpable but ineffable energy of, wow, there's somebody or a whole bunch of somebody's here cheering me on, that's real. Embrace that. Like, know that we love you and we have your back and we're working on this together for real. And the other thing too is, don't feel like you can't reach out in the 3D, because we're all supporting each other in the 5D or the quantum field or the 6D or whatever it is. We're supporting each other anyway. So when we need to speak up and say, whoa, this was a rough week, like, don't feel like you're bringing the vibe down or like you don't want to share that, because we're going through that too and we're already talking about it. It's just a matter of voicing it out loud to make that experience part of this reality too. And isn't that what integration is all about? So anyway, I made this video talking about how much I love you guys and how hard it is for me some nights sitting there not to just start making posts that are just like, I love you all so much. But it sounds so cheesy and insincere, but I mean it. Like, I literally feel all the love and it lifts me up, and I hope you feel it back too, because it's genuinely a miracle and it's real and it's happening every day. And aren't we freaking amazing? And how good is the algorithm? How good is the universe and the machine, right? I think the law of attraction works so quickly online, but it's speeding up in our day-to-day lives too. But that's a whole other conversation, 441. But anyway, so I felt a little bit cheesy making this video. And so I turned the camera off and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to sit with this a little bit longer. And then yesterday, I had this divinely timed call with my Patreon group. It was a workshop on Atlantis and abundance. And we were really guided in this channeled workshop to go and do things that make us feel free and abundant. And then someone invited me out to ecstatic dance last night. And I went along, and there was a woman in the bathroom who was sobbing. Like, just really, you could tell she was just in that dark place and just almost uncontrollably just like sobbing under these fluorescent lights in a public bathroom. And I asked her if she wanted a hug, and she hugged me back so hard. Like, she just gripped onto me so tight, and I hugged her back just as tightly as she was hugging me. And I could just feel this love flowing between us, and I almost started crying because she was hugging me just as tightly as I was hugging her, and I felt like she was there for me just as much as I was there for her. And I've seen this when I channel your souls. I've heard that there's no such thing as an experience that isn't reciprocal. Like, when you show up for somebody else, they're also showing up for you in some way, even if that's not obvious immediately. Like, a meeting of two souls is always like mutually beneficial. And I could feel this in this moment, and I just felt so called to say, I don't know what you're going through, but you're not alone. And I meant that, and I felt that, and I believed that with everything in me. And she felt that that was the truth. She could feel that that was real. She knew that I believed it, and she believed it too. And she hugged me back and said thank you, and we just kept holding each other for ages. And I didn't let go until she let go, and I could tell she still needed a hug. So I kept my arms open, and she hugged me again. And I said, and I mean this, I said, you were so loved. I said, you were so, so loved. And that's always true. And she believed me, because I believed me, and because my feelings and my beliefs matched my words. And after that experience, we just laughed. The way that we transformed that was incredible. She went from sobbing almost uncontrollably, like just feeling so down. And by the end of this one long hug, we were laughing, and she was saying, I'm gonna go dance it out. I said, well, you came to the right place. And I just thought, oh, okay, I do have to post that video. I do have to remind people that we're really not alone. And it's not abstract, it's not just a sentiment, it's not just something that we're saying because it makes us feel better. Like, we are genuinely here for each other. And that is so beautiful and so amazing. And I'm so happy to have realized this and to be a part of it and to believe it and to experience that union with you all. Somebody made a comment on one of my videos a while back, and they said, how do you cope with feelings of separation from someone you love? And I said, you know what, I'm going to channel on that, and I'll make a video for you one day, and it's finally here. And I think if you experience separation from someone, whether that's someone who's passed on the other side, whether that's someone who's just not in contact with you, who you love dearly, I think it's so important to realize that we actually are not separate ever. Like, we are all together in the quantum field. And it sounds abstract, but believe me, it's not. You can put this into practice. You can telepathically communicate with someone and summon their soul just by thinking about them. I mean, do you ever have conversations in your head with somebody? Whoa, that sun is bright. Do you ever have conversations in your head with somebody, like an imaginary conversation, like you're rehearsing for a real one? But then by the time you have the imaginary one, it's like you don't need to have the real one anymore. Or like there seems to be this shift in reality. It's like, oh, now they're doing what I wanted to talk to them about, suggesting. It's because you did have that conversation with them. You were talking to their soul. And you can do this. I mean, I've had really dark periods where Like, my mum hasn't spoken to me for years at a time, and I felt so unworthy, you know, like, how could this person who's supposed to be the only person in the world who loves me unconditionally not want to be with me, you know? That's a lot to work through. But I can talk to her soul. She doesn't have to be on the other side. I can say what's going on, and I can feel her with me immediately. And I know that she's always with me. And I asked her, I said, Mum, why aren't you here? Why did you leave me? Why did you cut me out? I don't get it. And she said, because there are a lot of things you need to find out for yourself. You're on a journey and you need to go do things and you need to go discover things. And you're not going to do that if you're worried about my feelings and if you're worried about my approval. And she was absolutely right. Like, I used that time away from her to connect with family that I never would have if I thought it would hurt her feelings. Like, I discovered about myself and my lineage and my heritage has absolutely changed my life. And when I made my peace with that and I found out what I needed to find out, I spoke to my mum's soul and I said, I love you. And I think I'm ready to talk to you, not from a place of ego anymore. And she called me back. She felt me. You know, we can have these conversations. We can clear the baggage. We can dissolve the separation by talking to people's souls and knowing that actually we're all here together all the time. The physical separation is just a pause between breaths. You know, it's this extremely temporary state that doesn't reflect who we actually are. Just because we pause before we inhale doesn't mean that we're not breathing. Just because they're streets away or a realm away doesn't mean that they're not with us always, ultimately. And you can do this with people on the other side. You can do this with people you're not talking to. You can do this with divine counterparts, like whatever it is. Just know that you are actually never alone. And that's part of what developing your intuitive and psychic gifts is about too. Being able to sense and feel people with you, feel their energy around you, feel each other thinking about each other, and all the ways in which there is no such thing as separation or difference. And that's what we're all doing together at the moment. We're like this supercharged version of that. We're this big global team of, you know, quote unquote strangers, but we're not. We're actually all best starseed angel friends. And the other thing I wanted to point out is that realizing this absence of separation is like telepathy 101. If you want someone to understand the essence of what you're saying, make sure that your feelings line up with that. And you guys are already great at this. Like, I read your comments and your messages and your emails and talk to you through readings and in Patreon. And you'll say something to me and I can absolutely feel it. You say sending love and I feel that love. You're not just saying it. Like, I can tell that there's a lot of intention and feeling behind that, and it works and it gets across. And you can do this with animals. You can do this over emails and texts, you know, things that get people's attention. Make sure you're feeling the emotion of what you say, and then you're using your entire like soul and chakra system to communicate that. And you can do it with animals. It's super cool. Like, I can look at a cat and hold the image of giving that cat a pat and then feel all like lovey-dovey about this cat, and then without making any moves, it will come to me first, because the cat can feel that. The cat knows that it can hear what I'm sending out. It can feel my vibes, and that cat is like, that lady is going to pat me and she's going to enjoy it and I'm going to enjoy it, and we're both going to be safe. And they pick up on these things. So yeah, this was my big rambly way of saying there is no such thing as separation. And that's not to invalidate your feelings. That's not to say that it's not hard being a human. That's not to say that I don't have moments where I want to cry and go, I miss my mom, and like want to get a big hug. We're actually talking at the moment though, which is really nice. But this is only to remind you that realizing that there is no separation, and that actually we are all connected and we are all one and we are never alone, is your most powerful way to getting over that in the 3D, and to feel so loved and supported. And when we feel loved and supported, imagine what we're magnetizing into our lives. Because I know I feel abundantly loved and supported all the time. and the miracles do not stop showing up. And every single one of you are a miracle for me. I really mean that. I hope you feel that, because it's true. Thank you. Have a beautiful day.